Hi, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. I hope that you guys are in control of stuff that are happening around you. Final week is done and you're chilling, maybe spending some good time with families and stuff. So today I really want to talk about something that I didn't want to talk about before because I thought that I didn't have enough knowledge to talk about it, but I just ended up deciding that the amount of information that I have right now as a pre-med make me qualify, don't quote me on this, to talk about it. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I choose to talk about it and actually record a video and put it on YouTube. So today we're gonna be talking about how hard it is to get into medical school, and I also wrote an article about it last week, so if you guys want to check it out, I will put it on the description below, so feel free to check it out and also give me feedbacks if you guys see anything that I can change or maybe any changement that I can bring on my next articles. So feel free to do that, because right now I'm writing one article every day because I really want to improve my writing and my speaking at the same time. So it does help me a lot to organize my thoughts when it comes to me having a conversation with someone and get the most out of it. So this is one of the reasons why I'm trying to keep writing one article every day and make sure that I do get published, because at the end of the day I can use it for my applications, I guess. And yeah, and it kind of like gave me a little boost, knowing that hey, I'm writing stuff that people are interested about, or stuff that people go through and can relate. It really does mean something to me, and that's one of the reasons why mostly I just like writing, even if proofreading is really not something that I like to do. But like writing and just put my thought on the paper, that's something that I really like to do. So I'm just gonna keep doing it as long as I feel that I'm motivated enough, or maybe I'm passionate enough about the project to keep going. So that was pretty much it. And today the subject is gonna be how hard it is to get into medical school. So first of all, before I say everything, I really want to let you guys know that everything that I'm going to be saying in this video is going to be based on my own personal experience and stuff that I'm going through right now, and stuff that I've seen people that I know going through while they were still in the process. So it's not going to be a general answer for everybody, so it's not going to be like this one thing that will work for everybody, right? So I just wanted to make it clear, and before I get started in the video and before somebody else who didn't watch anything comment correct me on the comment section, because I'm not taking it. So first of all, I'm not gonna lie to you, getting into medical school is not like one of the easiest things that you're gonna do as a pre-medical student, because there is like so much thing that you have to balance and maybe take into account when it comes to you getting into medical school. So first of all, you have your pre-med years. The pre-med years is I'll say any people actually in college. So I'll say one good thing about getting into medical school, so you don't have to be a specific major, like to study biology or maybe molecular biology, which is still some kind of biology related. So you do not have to study a biology related subject to get into medical school. So it can be any kind of major, so you can study anything you want as long as you have the prerequisite classes. The prerequisite classes are going to be the classes I will kind of like make you ready to understand the material once you'll be in medical school, so that not everybody will know everything, but so that you have like a basic knowledge on what they're gonna present to once they'll be in medical school. So I think that's the purpose of what the prerequisites are. So between your prerequisite classes, you have general chemistry, biology, organic chemistry, and also classes that I didn't talk about. So those are the classes that you'll have to take. Doesn't matter your major, in order to be I'll say qualified to apply to medical school. So some school will ask you to take extra classes, and other school won't ask you that much. But at the end of the day, it's based on what kind of experience that you want to do for yourself, or maybe where you want to go to medical school. So if you have something in mind, go and check it out, see how much work that you have to do for it, and just go for it. And if you do not have anything in mind, but you just know that you want to get into medical school, so I will advise you to take a time off to think about it, because it's gonna be a really big commitment, and once you'll be in it, it's gonna be overwhelming, it's gonna be challenging. And if you're not in it for the good reason, or you're not in it because you're genuinely interested into it or genuinely passionate about it, it's gonna be really hard for you to navigate around everything. So please, if you don't really know why, but you just know that you have an idea, or maybe this is something that you can do as like one fun thing, or maybe just because you want to do it to show off or something, please take a time off to think about it. You might think that you want to do it because you want to show off, but at the end of the day, you are interested about it. But please, before you start the process, take some time off and ask yourself if this is something that you really want to do, because you'll have to pay a lot, you'll have to sacrifice a lot, you'll have to do a lot. So yeah, once you'll be done taking your prerequisite classes, so you'll have to take some time off again to start prepping for the MCAT. So you'll have to tell yourself, hey, how am I gonna prepare my MCAT, or what kind of study guide, maybe study plan that I'm gonna have to help me prepare for my MCAT. The MCAT, for those who didn't know, is the medical college admission test. I think I have it right. Medical college admission test. And it's pretty much like the test that you have to take for most of the US medical school system, and also some Canada medical school system, not Canada US medical school, not Canada US medical school system, but just Canada medical school system. So yeah, so you'll need to take the MCAT, or maybe this exam, to make you again qualify to get into medical school, because it's like one of those things that you have to do to have a complete application. So the MCAT is pretty challenging, pretty tedious. It's like an 8 hours exam, and they're gonna be testing you on the subject that I talk about, and also subject that I did not talk about as well. So there's also a reading section of the MCAT called course. I don't know like the complete definition for it, but I will put it on the video somewhere once I will work on the video later. So it's also something that pushed me to write every day and also read every day, because I, like you guys might know already, an immigrant, and I do have a thick accent, and yeah, so it's really hard for me to read or even talk, because first of all, that's not my language, and I don't want to put it on the language only, but the thing that makes it very much more hard for me to speak and also write is the fact that I'm not practicing enough. And thanks God, I've realized this enough, and I'm currently working on it. So right now I'm trying like to talk much more every day, so that's why I'm also thinking about putting a video on YouTube every day to help me with my talking or my speaking. And I'm also trying to write every day to help me with my thought process, and also my understanding when it comes to text comprehension, or me having a conversation with someone. So I'm getting ready for some section of the MCAT, not actively but passively, but once the time will come, so I will start to do the active work and actively start preparing for it. So yeah, the second thing that you need to do is think about how you want to prep for your MCAT. Do you want to buy the books and prep by yourself? So some people have different study guide that I'm pretty sure you might find on Reddit or maybe on other social media, but they also have other options where they choose some prep material and they just prep the prep material. So between the famous prep material that we have as premedical student has options. So we have UWord, which is the first one. It's like a bank of questions, different questions that you can do pretty much every day before you take the MCAT, the exam, to be very much more comfortable with answering the questions. Because based on the people that took the MCAT and prep with UWord, the questions look pretty similar as the final questions in the MCAT. So that's why it was a really good maybe a really good bonus to have UWord, even though they have their own prep material, other prep material to study for the MCAT. So I will advise you to take a look to it, not sign up for it, but just take a look to it. And they also have a free trial, which is 7 days. So if you want to like just go take a look to it and see how it looks like, you can sign up for the free trial and then do the free trial. And if you don't like it, you don't have to sign up for it, but if you do like it, just to keep going with your prep, because you will need it. The more resources the better, but as long as you know you have quality resources, and I do think it's one of the best quality resources out there, because a lot of people are talking about it, and they generally have the same opinion about it, which is a good help when it comes to studying for the MCAT. So I would advise you to check your word if you want to, or you just looking for a prep material but you don't have anything in mind, so you can check your word if you don't want to do your own question. That's one thing that I will kind of like recommend to use your word for people who doesn't want to do their own questions, because when it comes to studying, passively reading the chapters or maybe writing notes help, but having questions that you can kind of like come back to when you want to review the chapter that you previously studied is a really good thing. And the advantage that you would give you is the fact that all the questions are already designed or maybe already on the platform here. The only thing that you have to do honestly is log in and just do the questions. So if you're one of those people, you really don't have time or you really don't like making your own questions, so I do think Keyword can be a really good help for you. But the thing that I would like to tell you before you start Keyword is make sure that you have a good time, you spend a good time doing content review, right? So don't just go straight up and do Keyword, because I don't think they have videos for all the subject. So if you don't really know something, it does not really make any sense to actually go and learn everything, try to memorize everything, but don't really know what you're memorizing, or maybe you don't even understand what you're memorizing. So I will advise you to go and check other videos out and see the subject, become very much more familiar to it, and then go and learn specific questions about the subject and new word. So that's one of the way that I'm gonna use it once it will be time for me to use it. So I was just putting a advice out there. So if you want to take it, take it. If you don't want to take it, just leave it. And the other prep material that I think almost everybody knows about is Kaplan. It's like a set of books. I think it's 6 books that you can buy and use to prep for the MCAT. So the subject for the books, or maybe like the books that they currently have, covers general chemistry, organic chemistry, biology, biochemistry, and cores, which is the reading session, and psychology as well. So if you are someone who really want to spend the time and learn about each specific subject before you dive into your active phase, active stage of studying by using your word, so I think Kaplan is like a good start. So you can use Kaplan to start studying the different subject that you might have studied but you don't really remember what you studied, or you just haven't studied the subject yet but you want to start studying ahead. So you can start with Kaplan. But the thing with Kaplan is it's like a summary of different topic that they just expect you to know. It's not like the way that they designed the book, but I've been using the book for almost like 2 weeks, and I can tell you it's like a big summary. It's like stuff that you need to memorize straight up, the way that everything is written. So it's not like they will give you some background information about the subject and then they will give you high-level information. They do tell you what you need to study, right? But the way that the book is just designed, it's like all the information are good to memorize. And honestly, it's a really good book. It's a really good book if you have other resources that you're using. Like, for example, I do have the Kaplan book, Try for Biology, but I also have another biology book that I bought, which is this one. So I bought this book and also this one as well. So I'm currently using Kaplan biology book, and I'm also using this book to do my content review, because the thing with me is I really like diving into the subject that I'm studying. So I really like going back to the basics and understand what I'm doing, like learn the fundamental and then build on top of it. I do know other people, not everybody is comfortable with it, or not everybody wants to do that because they might find that it's a waste of time, or they just don't want to do it. But the thing with me is I really like learning, and I really like knowing my stuff, so that's why I have extra resources that I use in on top of using Kaplan, because Kaplan is like will tell you stuff that you need to know, right? But I also like using my extra resources to go back and see how my stuff, the stuff that I'm learning, are related to other stuff, or some extra information that I can add on top of what I'm learning right now. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna be better for me once I'll be in medical school, so I'll still have to learn the material, and the more exposed that I am with the material, or maybe like the more I think I know, the better it is. Because right now, honestly, I'm not doing anything. The only thing that I have to do is go to the clinic and show up to my classes, and I have a lot of time, a lot of free time. So I rather dive into the subject right now and learn and experience and make myself much more familiar to the subject than not doing anything. So that's why I'm using extra resources such as these two books that I show you guys. And I'm using other books as well, but like those books, but it's gonna be the subject for another video. So I will make another video and tell you guys how I got these books, and yeah, it's gonna be a subject for another day, but not today. So you can use extra resources such as Kaplan, YouWord, Preston Review is pretty much the same thing as Kaplan, but it's just another company. And I'm pretty sure there are all the type of prep material out there, but those are like the most used, like the commonly known material. So that's why I've just stuck about them. And the only thing that you have to, not the only, but the other thing that you have to think about when it comes to you applying to medical school is your clinical hours. So please make sure that you have clinical jobs, or maybe your clinical hours, because I do know people with really some great MCAT score and some great GPAs, and they still cannot get into medical school because they didn't have any clinical exposure, or they didn't have any clinical job. Please go and try to do something. The sooner the better, because you obviously will have more exposure, and by having more exposure you will have way much more hours, and you will kind of have an understanding of what medicine is. And I think it might help you when it comes to you applying, and also you going to interview, because based on the people that are actually in med school and telling me about the experience and stuff that they've been through, they've also said that the clinical job and really like the clinical exposure time that they did had and they put in their application was the subject of some conversation that they had when it comes to them having interview to some medical school. So I really think that the sooner the better. So if you can have something as simple as being a medical scribe, because it's like you don't need to have any formal, I'll say, education. You don't have to spend like a full month, maybe half a year on a class to get a certification. So you can pretty much dedicate 2 months in it, or maybe 1 month, based on the amount of day that you have in the month to become a scribe, and you can actually do it instead of getting your clinicals. So that's what I did, and I'm pretty glad that I did. So please, if you can do that, the earlier the better. Please do it, and your clinicals are really important. So you might think that you also like medicine, but by just going to your clinicals, you might realize that, hey, I don't like medicine, so I really don't want to do this for the rest of my life. So it might also change your mind. So you never know, your clinical job will open your eyes to a lot of stuff that you didn't know about medicine. And it's really different from watching Grey's Anatomy or Scrubs, because even though those shows are really good, the thing that they don't show you is like the backstage, you know, like what it's really happening when it comes to having a consult, having a patient that you're following and stuff like that. I did not know anything about this until I got my clinical job, and I currently going through it. So I currently have 6 months with the job that I have right now, so that will also be the subject for another video. So I got two subjects for my next videos from this point. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, get clinical exposure and also letters of recommendation. That's another thing that your clinical exposure job might help you with, because you know, by being on the floor in the clinic, you'll be interacting with different healthcare providers, PA, physician, nurses, not nursing. So those people are going to be people that you might ask for letters of recommendation. So by going through your clinicals, so we can actually have contact and build connection and use those people to write you good letters of recommendation if they know you well or you did work with them. Because if you're like I'll say a cool individual, or maybe they really like you when you were on the floor, they will be pretty happy to write you later. So we can actually use those people, maybe take advantage of that. So please get you a clinical job as soon as possible. And there is way much more stuff when it comes to you applying to medical school, and the stuff will obviously pile up and make it kind of hard or maybe challenging to get in. But I will do like a part 2 of this same video because it's getting really long right now and I really don't want to make something long, so I'm just gonna cut this and do like a part 2 or something. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye.